Behind Vanderbilt with 11 players on major league rosters. LSU is second with 8. Carolina is third with 7. I have a feeling a few of the players that we're seeing tonight one day will also appear on a major league roster near you. Now, they might not all be top 10 picks like Todd Walker, but they'll be drafted and they'll have a chance to make it to the show.
Well, there's a backlog, right? Because there were only 5 rounds last year. There's only 20 rounds in the Major League Draft this year. So you're seeing a lot of guys got their COVID year back that would have been drafted or, were around last year that are back in college.
8 pitch at bat to Morgan culminates in a walk. You see the most players on opening day rosters. I shortchanged Vanderbilt. Let's give them 13, shall we? And now this is kind of you can go actual roster versus 40-man. I'm not going to go knee deep into that. But Vanderbilt number 1, LSU number 2, and Carolina number 3. Whit Merrifield's been tearing it up in Kansas City, former Gamecock, the hero of the 2010 World Series. That's a base hit for Dylan Crews, who's been one of the heroes for LSU all season long. Morgan can fly, and Morgan will go home without a throw. 3-0 LSU.
The greatest thing about Dylan Crews is he's got an educated guess. When he knows a fastball is coming, he's not going to miss it early in the count. That's a double down the line past Malone. Look at Trey Morgan run the bases round second and then third, touch the inside part of the bag and keep rolling. And Trey Morgan, nobody's getting him for the third run for LSU. And Dylan Crews, one of the best freshmen, certainly the best freshman, one of the best hitters in the conference, comes up big.
So a runner at second with 1 out. And now the guy that got it all started back in the first inning with a 2-run bomb, Gavin Dugas. We don't expect Landon Marceau to go back out in the 8th inning. But again, much like Carolina, LSU's got some pretty quality arms in that bullpen, Todd.
Yeah, and it's anybody's guess as to who they'll bring out. They had hoped to play Grambling and get some throws in from some of these guys like Will Helmers and some of the others. They didn't get that game in this week, so they do have some arms. And the best thing about the starters is they're keeping them fresh.
Crews made sure it got through before he took off for third, so he'll pull on the brakes there. Another hit for Dugas. And they're at the corners now, 1 out here in the 7th as LSU tries to add some more insurance for that bullpen.
Good job by Nolan Cain holding up Dylan Crews at third. Unless he can walk home, you certainly don't want to make the second out at home plate. Dylan Crews rounding third. That was a solid base up at the middle, but Brady Allen had a beat on it, and now LSU's got the corners with 1 out.
Doty tomahawks one to right. Eister is there. This will play to run. And LSU will extend the lead now 4-0.
That was another thing I did, Mike. I went early in the count if I was facing a strikeout pitcher, and I went early in the count if I had to get a runner at home from third with less than 2 outs. I didn't want to get in a 2-strike situation where I had to fight for my life. Hey, Doty gets a fastball he can handle, just pops it out to right field and gets the job done.
And there you see the Gamecock pen heating up once again. That is the left-hander Jackson Phipps. Best fastball of the night for Daniel Lloyd at 95, past the bat of Jordan Thompson, who's 0 for 2. But Thompson made one of the plays of the game defensively from his shortstop position. Saved one, if not two runs. Carolina, again, has had opportunities, but 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
You know what you love about Jordan Thompson, too, is he kicked a ball in Game 3 last weekend against Kentucky, which was a big play in that game, yet he bounces back, and having the defensive night he's had tonight, it's pretty impressive. That's all baseball ever is. It's just bouncing back. You're going to have more downs than you are ups. And they've always taught us, don't ride that roller coaster. Stay on an even keel. And that's probably why, Mike, I don't have any emotion anymore. I've drained it all out from all my years. But you've got to stay on this even keel where you don't get too high, you don't get too low. And I had a problem with if I did something right, well, that was supposed to happen, so I never got overly excited about it. Yet if I did something wrong, I took it to heart, lost a lot of sleep over it, and that was the problem I had, is when things went wrong, the ability to just stay on that even level and not get too down on yourself.
How you holding up tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I kind of like how the first few innings have gone. What are we, 3 hours deep right now?
I know you're just elated to have a game that doesn't have a preponderance of walks dominating the storyline.
And we knew that going in. Thomas Farr was going to be around the plate. Landon Marceau was going to be around the plate. Anytime you get an opener, you're going to see some hosses on Friday nights or Thursday nights in this case in the SEC. And that's why you saw that stat with so many players and pitchers in the major leagues right now, is because you're facing this in college at 21, 22 years old. And it's high-level stuff, man. I mean, I always thought when I left LSU, I was prepared for pro ball.
It really is insane. The amount of pitching in the SEC that you see on a Thursday, Friday night, and for that matter, a lot of Saturdays. Breaking ball at the knees. Lloyd gets the call. Thompson is dismayed, but LSU overall quite happy, up by 4 runs.
This is The Planning Effect. As Carla thinks about retirement, she'll wonder, what if I could retire sooner? And so she'll get some advice from Fidelity. And Fidelity will help her explore some different scenarios, like saving more every month. And that has Carla feeling so confident that she can enjoy her dream right now. That's The Planning Effect from Fidelity.
When I was in my car wreck, the insurance company wanted me to sign fast. No way. I needed to lean on G. Good.
Lean on G. If you're in a wreck, don't talk to the insurance company and don't sign anything until you talk to me. Lean on G. We're here to fight for your rights and recover every dollar you deserve. Lean on G.
G got me $705,000.
Just call me. Get it done.
Call 999-9999 or go to getgordon.com.
Senior Chief Kelly, it appears you have a common enemy with the United States.
They took everything from me. My family.
He is more dangerous and effective than any man we have in the field.
They brought that war into my house. They're gonna play by my rules now. No remorse.
Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. Rated R. April 30th. Only on Prime Video.
Mike Morgan, Todd Walker back with you for the box in Baton Rouge. LSU leading it 4-0. A very eventful 7th inning, Todd Walker.
Well, Landon Marceau dodged a leadoff triple by David Mendham. Colin Burgess gets the strikeout, and Brendan Malone hits the ball to shortstop. Mendham tries to make it home. Travinski ain't having it. Collision at the plate for the second out, and then the strikeout by Braylon Wimmer, and Landon Marceau is fired up, and rightfully so. I mean, what an outing by that kid. Over 100 pitches, 12 strikeouts in 7 innings, only 1 walk, which is the stat I love the best on that line. And he is a warrior on the mound.
He was dicing dudes up tonight. The career high in strikeouts, I looked at his updated ERA, it's now 1.65. This guy's been pretty good, too, out of the bullpen. 17th appearance for Fontenot. He's been a workhorse at 2.87 earned run average. He'll be looking at the top of the order for Carolina with Allen, Khalil, and Seitler. Strike at the letters to Brady Allen, the center fielder, who's 1 for 3 tonight. What are we looking at for Mr. Fontenot?
Well, he's got a live fastball up to 95, as you saw right there. He's got a low three-quarter arm action. Fastball has late run and sink. He attacks the zone. The walk total's a little high, I think, for even him, but he's the guy they go to late in these games.
Two, topped foul. We'll do it again. Brady Allen did reach on a single his last time up. That made it 11 straight games he's gotten on base. The hits have been limited tonight for Carolina, just 3. They have left 6 men on base. Strike 3. That is the 13th strikeout of the night for LSU pitching, and the first one for Devin Fontenot. Tip off your weekend with an NBA Friday doubleheader on ESPN and the ESPN app. It'll be the Clippers, who have won 7 straight, taking on Joel Embiid, and the Sixers, followed up by the Knicks and the Mavs, led by Luka Doncic. One gone for Khalil, hitting in the 2-hole tonight, 0 for 3, and hitting .218 on the year. The young man from Australia. He had a heck of a time. COVID, of course, wreaked some type of havoc on everybody, but when he tried to get back to Australia, they had a mandatory 2-week quarantine. He had to basically just live in a hotel. The TV didn't work. That's a problem right there. So he just had to sit by himself, go on his laptop, have no interaction with anybody, stranded in a hotel room in Australia after a long, long flight from the States. Thought he could have called you and played some Fortnite to pass the time by.
How are you going to play Fortnite if your TV doesn't work?
Well, his laptop work. Can't you do that virtually?
I think you can. I don't know. I use a TV, man. If a TV doesn't work in my house, it's like the worst thing that can ever happen.
Well, you're still using a rotary phone. I think these youngsters now, they can get it to work on their laptop.
Can you imagine being stuck in a hotel for 2 weeks with no TV,
that would not be cool.
And you have to study?
2-2 right there. Not sure what Khalil was looking for. And that's too good a pitch to take with 2 strikes. 2 up, 2 down for Fontenot.
Fontenot picking up where Marceau left off, just strikeout after strikeout. That fastball was middle end with some run right down the inside part of the plate. George Khalil not able to pull the trigger. Second strikeout of the inning.
Nobody on, 2 gone for the 3-hole hitter, Josiah Seitler. Fastball off the plate.
You know, I always thought, Mike, that as Brady Allen goes, as Wes Clark goes, that's how this offense works. They're 1 for 6 tonight. Wes Clark had a walk, and Brady Allen had a base hit. That's it. And they're powerful. They're strong. They're some good hitters. Brady Allen and Wes Clark out of the 4-hole. But tonight, LSU's been able to hold those 2 down, and I think it carries over through the lineup.
Well, I think to your point, for the Carolina offense to be what they want it to be, they need Wes Clark to heat up again in conference play. It can't all be Brady Allen. You got to have that 1-2 punch. I realize they're not back-to-back in the order, but still, when they were both going at the same time, and that could be scary for opposing pitchers.
Yeah, that was that first 11 games we were talking about. They were 11-0. Wes Clark, when we had him, was hitting over 600 with 8 home runs early in the season. Brady Allen was raking as well. And again, I just think that, as they go, the whole lineup goes, they kind of look to these guys. And the other thing, too, is it's not like they're coming out of the lineup. So I like what you said. They have to produce in order for South Carolina to do well this year.
They have run into one buzzsaw tonight in Marceau, and Fontenot not letting up here in the 8th. 2-2. He got him. Strikes out the side. 15 strikeouts tonight for LSU pitching.
I think you're seeing LSU start to heat up. 3-9 in the conference. They're starting to feel it right now. How about these strikes by Fontenot? 3 strikeouts a row in the 8th. We go to the bottom in the 8th, and it's all LSU.
Taco Bell's Quesalupa is back with its cheese stuffed shell. But there's nothing worse than overhype.
Here it is.
So we'll skip the speeches and the influencers.
Hello?
Cut the fanfare.
Man.
And the pyro.
Man.
So don't hold on to your seats. We're just here to tell you the Quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back. And we think you'll like it.
I think the sketchy website I bought this turtle from stole all my info.
Ooh. Have you looked on the bright side?
Discover never holds you responsible for unauthorized purchases on your card. That's my turtle.
Fraud protection. Discover something brighter.
I have the power to lower my A1C.
Because I can still make my own insulin, and Trulicity activates my body to release it.
Once weekly Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. Most people taking it reached an A1C under 7%. Trulicity may also help you lose up to 10 pounds and lower your risk of cardiovascular events, whether you know you're at risk or not. Trulicity isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. It's not approved for use in children. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it, you or your family have medullary thyroid cancer, or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems.
I have it within me to lower my A1C.
Ask your doctor about once weekly Trulicity.
This beer looks just like beer. But what if we told you its recipe is over 100 years old? Created in Mexico by a German brewmaster. It's not just any beer now, is it? Dos Equis, the most interesting beer.
Well, here is LSU, winners of 3 out of the last 4. Big series win against Kentucky last week. And now up on a red-hot South Carolina squad, 4-0 going into the bottom of the 8th. We talked about this at the top, Todd Walker. LSU under Paul Mainieri has had a number of slow starts where they finish awfully strong. You look at those numbers on the left, and then you look at where they finished, including 3 World Series, a Super Regional, and a national championship. When we finish these series this weekend, we will officially be at the midway point in conference play. And I think people that are looking at LSU now are looking at a very dangerous team.
If you ask Paul Mainieri, he'll point to that 2008 season when at one point they got swept by Tennessee to open the conference schedule in 2008. They were 6-11-1 at one point. Ended up sweeping the last 4 series, so they won 12 games in a row. They won the SEC tournament, they won a regional, they won a super, got back to Omaha, and they're traditionally hot finishers.
And that is a home run for Cade Beloso, who would love nothing more than a hot finish after a sluggish start to this season. Cade Beloso, for the 3rd time today, reaches, and that one by far is the most memorable. LSU with its 54th home run of the year, 3rd highest total in the country.
Credit Paul Mainieri for sticking with Cade Beloso. He knows he's got it in him. They've worked on a lot of things with his legs and with his hand position in order to get to the fastball a lot quicker. He's got a base hit earlier in the game, and he gets a fastball or a curveball up and in. And wow, did he plaster that ball.
The home run ball coming off the new pitcher, Phipps. Rude way to greet him.
That was a fastball middle in. You saw Cade Beloso already opened up both with his lead shoulder and his hips. So he was waiting on that fastball, and he cleared it. Again, you're not going to be able to hit a cutter away or any kind of off-speed away, but if he throws that ball middle in, Beloso's going to hammer that pitch, and he did.
That is Jackson Phipps, the southpaw. Limited work this year, just 9 2/3 innings. And a strikeout of DiGiacomo. Phipps out of Dallas, Georgia, the freshman. So this will be a fun series, not only tonight. Certainly Carolina can't wait till Friday and Saturday to see what they can do the rest of the way. But then the upcoming schedule, we talked about how daunting it is for Carolina. Not that easy for LSU either, as Stravinsky fouls the first pitch off. At Ole Miss, Arkansas at home. You could say there's a little bit of let up there toward the end at Auburn, Alabama, and Texas A&M. But the next 2 games in this series, the next 6 games after that, I think are going to say a lot as to just how far back, in a good way that is, LSU really is. How dangerous might they be for the rest of this 2021 campaign? In the air, center field, Allen coming on.
Yeah, it all hinges on this series, too. And so far, they're looking good on the opener. But they need to at least take 2 or 3 from South Carolina in order to get back on track, because they got to go to Ole Miss next weekend. Ole Miss has only won 2 games in the last 2 weekends. Arkansas, the #1 team in the country. They host in Baton Rouge. And so the next 3 weekends, similar to South Carolina, will tell the tale of their season.
First pitch swinging is Arnold, and he will be retired. So the leadoff homer by Beloso gives LSU one more insurance run. We head of the ninth, 5-0 Tigers.
Weight isn't the best measure of physical health because it can be made of all sorts of stuff. Introducing Amazon Halo. Halo uses your smartphone's camera to analyze body fat percentage, a better indicator of health than weight or BMI alone. Then a personalized 3D model helps you track progress over time. Halo's nearly twice as accurate as leading at-home smart scales, so you can focus on your health, not just your weight.
I think the sketchy website I bought this turtle from stole all my info.
Ooh, have you looked on the bright side?
Discover never holds you responsible for unauthorized purchases on your card. That's my turtle.
Fraud protection. Discover something brighter.
This burger could perform miracles. This burger could save relationships.
This isn't your normal cheeseburger. You all of a sudden have bacon jam on it. You're like, wow, compliments to the chef. Who threw this together? Sonic Bacon Jam Cheeseburger.
It's
you know?
elevated flavors.
Yep.
Hey, how you doing, baby? You look mighty fine. I figured I might come your way and roll up on you with that golden ticket. Shawty, can I get your digits? Maybe we can kick it. Hey, 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 hey. Just wait till all my time is up. Just wait till all my, just wait till all my.
Smell irresistible. New X.
We have entered the ninth inning. LSU 5-8-0, 0-3-2 for Carolina, who has had 7 base runners tonight, but 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. That has certainly been a major factor for the Gamecocks. The story at the end of this game, in all likelihood, is going to be Landon Marceau, who is nothing short of spectacular. A career-high 12 strikeouts. He did not allow a run. He lowered his earned run average to a minuscule 1.65. And Fontenot picking up where he left off, striking out the side in his one inning of work. The aforementioned Wes Clark will start things off here in the ninth. Then Eyster and Mendham last call for the Gamecocks. Clark is 0 for 2. He does have a walk tonight. And batting right at 200 in league play. You know, while we're handing out bouquets tonight, we showed that graphic of some of the great comebacks that LSU has had to put together really memorable seasons. I mean, so much of that credit has to go to Paul Mainieri in his 15th year. Not letting the adversity get to you. I mean, this is a year, again, 1-8 in league play. Worst start since '69. And everybody wants to know what's wrong with LSU. Then you lose Jaden Hill for the year. I think that's when you really find out what your coaching looks like. How do you keep everybody upbeat and ready to battle back?
15th year for LSU, or for Mainieri at LSU, but 39th year as a head coach.
Clark hits a bullet to third. Doty, no. Morgan got down low again, and the ball spills out of his glove. Morgan tapping his chest saying, my bad. I don't know.
Sometimes getting low actually hurts you. And right there, Cade Doty looks smooth to left at third base, handles the ball with no problem to his backhand, takes the correct steps and wings it over to Trey Morgan, who's so low that I think the hop just got away from him. It was down the right field line also, and Morgan wasn't able to hang on to it.
No, Clark is aboard. Now Eyster. I tell you, time flies. Paul Mainieri in his 15th year.
Yeah.
It seems like just yesterday he was leading Notre Dame to the World Series. That was 2002.
39 years of head coaching, man. Can you imagine doing 39 years of anything?
Play-by-play is about all I'm qualified to do for 39 years or 39 months.
I tell you what, and even then, it's a lot. And
yes,
that's kind of what I've been saying on these local radio stations is I'm going to give Paul Mainieri the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's been around. What you asked is how does he handle the downsides, and you've seen it so many times. Doesn't make it any easier. I know Paul Mainieri takes it to heart still. And like I said myself, just the negative stuff is too much to handle sometimes. But he's been there. He points to 2008, like I was saying. He's seen it firsthand. The turn around. You can't win 8 games tonight, but you can win 1, and you take the little steps at a time. LSU seems like they're starting to do it. He's stuck with Cade Beloso through his slump, and now Cade Beloso's paid off tonight with a base hit and a home run. And you can start to see a little bit of light in Baton Rouge.
How about this? Mainieri was a high school quarterback at Columbus High in Miami. We need to get some of that film. Of course, his father, Demi Mainieri, the legendary coach at North Miami-Dade Community College. As Fontenot loses Eyster. Think about this. Father Demi, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago and was such an influence on Paul Mainieri's life, while coaching North Miami-Dade, he coached Bucky Dent, Mickey Rivers, and Mike Piazza. That's some pretty good players to come through the old JUCO route, huh?
Pretty strong. Skip Bertman's also from Miami, and he's actually coached some big ones as well, but that's a long time of coaching, like we've already mentioned, and some good ones, and he learned from the best. He would call his dad his best friend and his mentor, and I know that Paul would tell you that he's learned so much from his dad, and that's why he's so successful now.
5 College World Series while at LSU. I mentioned the one at Notre Dame. That was my first trip to Omaha back in '02. And he was kind of they were the darling stories in a lot of ways, the Fighting Irish going to Omaha. 2009 national championship, 2017 national runner-up for Paul Mainieri.
And, you know, when you're moving colleges like that into Omaha, the cold weather, you know, that I clearly think are at a disadvantage because at the beginning of the year, you're just not able to get outside as much as the South teams. I think of Van Horn, who took Nebraska to the Omaha one year. You know, it's pretty impressive.
Really is. Notre Dame has not been back since. Before Notre Dame, he coached Air Force from 87 to 94. Before that, it was St. Thomas High School back in the late 80s. Proud tradition there in both baseball and high school football. Michael Irvin, one of the prominent alums from St. Thomas. And it's never easy to follow a legend. Technically, Smoke Laval kind of bridged that gap, but Skip Bertman, I mean, that name and his resume is still awfully hard to live up to.
Well, Smoke Laval was one of our coaches when I was there in the early 90s as an assistant to Skip Bertman. But Skip Bertman handpicked Paul Mainieri to come in here and run this program. 2009 national champions and numerous national seeds over the years, over his 15 years. And very consistently getting some talent, as is South Carolina. I think you made the parallel to both clubs, and I think you're looking at two of the premier teams and the premier programs, especially over the last 10 years in the country.
Bertman took LSU to a whole other level, and obviously Ray Tanner did the same at South Carolina. And with that comes greater expectations for all the coaches that follow in those footsteps. A 1-2 count to the Carolina first baseman, David Mendham. Clark leading off at second. And we'll see another 1-ball, 2-strike pitch out of the right hand of Devin Fontenot.
I think we saw the emotion get a little much of Devin Fontenot to start this inning. He had 3 strikeouts in a row in the 8th, and an emotional 8th inning to get those outs, and he comes out a little bit with a little less control here in the 9th, but he's able to get it back against David Mendham, a 6-hole hitter, and worked himself into a 1-2 count.
That ball comes inside and grazed him, so he will take a base and gladly do so. Down 5 runs. You need base runners right now if you're Carolina, and all of a sudden you got 3 of them.
Yeah, and I've always said with this deficit late in the game, you're not going to hit your way out of this. The only way you come back is walks and errors. A walk to Eister and now a walk to Mendham. And Devin Fontenot, who looked unhittable in the 8th, now looks like he's a little vulnerable.
For what it's worth, the Wes Clark play, they did charge Doty with an error. So bases loaded, nobody out. A grand opportunity for Carolina in the 9th. It'll be Colin Burgess, 1 for 3. Burgess out of Lexington, Kentucky, originally slated to go to Wichita State before a coaching change happened there. Wound up in Columbia. Has been a great find for Mark Kingston and company. Burgess this year 1 for 2 with the bases loaded.
That's the one he should have bid on. You got a 1-0 count. Fastball's coming. And Fontenot has to throw a strike with the bases loaded. Nowhere to put him. He certainly doesn't want to get behind in the count. And Burgess takes it for strike 1.
2-1.
And they might very well have the take a strike, because like I said before, the only way they're coming back is walks and errors. And so far, Fontenot's walked 2 guys in this inning. Colin Burgess gets to a 1-0 count. And it's quite possible that Mark Kingston has put on the take for strike 1.
3-1 the count. And that is Malone on deck. So you've got the bottom of the order here. Not exactly what you want, but if you can get a couple of base runners out of it, then it flips over, and you got Brady Allen, a very dangerous hitter, coming to the plate.
Yeah, I think Devin Fontenot, again, is just feeding off the emotion, and he's a little worn out already from the last inning. He's got 11 walks in 15 innings coming into this game, so he's been a little erratic this year.
Ground ball to third. Steps on the bag for one. The throw by Doty to first. Double play. Oh, Clark scores. Gamecocks scratch, but Fontenot and LSU will gladly trade the one run for a twin killing.
And that was a huge play for Fontenot just to deliver a pitch when everybody knows a fastball's coming. Burgess hits it on the ground to Doty, and Doty under control steps on the bag. And you're right, they'll gladly trade the run for 2 outs.
So the last hope for Carolina is in the form of the third baseman, Brennan Malone. He's 0 for 3. Fastball strike. Mendham leads at second. 0-1 pitch. And now the Gamecocks are down to their final strike. That is a telltale number. 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position are the Gamecocks tonight. It's just hard to beat a quality team and a quality performance by Landon Marceau with that stat line.
Well, LSU needed this. They were swept here in Baton Rouge against Mississippi State on the opening weekend. They were swept by Vanderbilt in Baton Rouge. So to get on the win column here at home is huge for this team.
0-2. He got him. Only fitting that the game would end in another LSU strikeout. It started with Landon Marceau, a career-high dozen. 7 shutout innings for him, and then Fontenot gets the final 6 outs, and LSU wins the first game of the series by a final score of 5-1. Todd Walker, some thoughts?
Well, it's huge. Now they're 4-8 or 4-9 in conference. LSU, when Paul Maneri's been preaching all positive, this is one way to look at it. When you start getting wins, they dropped the third game in Kentucky after winning the first 2, and now they pick up the opener in this series against a very good South Carolina team. A great pitching performance from both Landon Marceau. Devin Fontenot comes in, combines for 16 strikeouts. So when we talk about walks kill, strikeouts help, and that's 16 strikeouts for the LSU pitching staff, and they needed that one big.
LSU improves to 4-9 in SEC play. We'll take a timeout. Come back with more from Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge.
T-Mobile is the leader in 5G. We also believe in putting people first by treating them right. So we're upping the benefits without upping the price. Introducing Magenta Max. Now with unlimited premium data that can't slow down based on how much smartphone data you use. Plus, get Netflix on us and taxes and fees included. You won't find this with the other guys. In fact, you'll pay more and get less. Right now, pay zero cost to switch. And bring your phone, we'll pay it off. Only at T-Mobile.
I think the sketchy website I bought this turtle from stole all my info.
Ooh, have you looked on the bright side?
Discover never holds you responsible for unauthorized purchases on your card. That's my turtle.
Fraud protection. Discover something brighter.
One for me and one for me. Introducing buy one, get one for just $1 at Burger King. Grab a flame-grilled Whopper or Impossible Whopper and mix or match it with your favorites for an extra buck. Go ahead. You deserve it. Buy one, get one for $1. Your way, way better.
LSU jumping for joy after winning the series opening game against a red-hot South Carolina team. Final score 5-1 for the Bayou Bengals, winning it in impressive fashion. Mike Morgan, Todd Walker. Todd, we talked about the importance of this game and this series for LSU. They made a bit of a statement last week, but it was Kentucky, with all due respect to Kentucky, not having the season that South Carolina has. So here you have a team on the fringes of the top 10, and you mow them down on the mound, and you get timely hitting on offense. Pretty impressive performance by LSU.
Well, and now LSU's won 3 of their last 4 conference games, and Paul Mainieri's been preaching staying positive, and that's one way to do it, is just win baseball games, and they're doing that. They faced a gauntlet the first 3 weekends with Vanderbilt and Mississippi State and Tennessee, and we're finding out how good those teams actually are. Now it gets to the point where they start playing baseball. They're led by a couple freshmen in Trey Morgan and Dylan Cruz offensively. We knew LSU's offense would be young. They're starting to get the hang of it, and I always thought the more at-bats you get under your belt, the more it becomes a hitter's advantage. They're starting to get more at-bats, starting to feel more comfortable. This is the first time around the SEC for a lot of these hitters in LSU's lineup. They did lose their ace, or I think Landon Marceau's their ace, but one of their best pitchers in Jaden Hill, so they're going to have to find the third starter. But A.J. Labus is equally as good tomorrow night, and I know they like where they're at.
Something you mentioned, we knew certain things about LSU were good. We knew Landon Marceau was good. Tonight, he was beyond good. He was simply outstanding.
Yeah, Landon Marceau was spotting it up with his fastball, both the 4-seamer and the 2-seamer with a tight spin on the curveball. He had South Carolina getting behind in counts, and he was able to bury him with that curveball in the dirt. The fastball in the outside corner, 12 strikeouts, career high for Landon Marceau. He was up for the challenge tonight. What I love, he only walked one guy in 107 pitches, and he brought the emotion tonight.
The walks were minimal. The strikeouts were frequent. 16 punch-outs for the LSU staff of Landon Marceau and Devin Fontenot. They were terrific. The Gamecocks had opportunities in this game, but they'll look back and see 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. That certainly was a major factor. Once again, it's been our pleasure bringing you college baseball on ESPNU. For Todd Walker and our entire ESPN crew, Mike Morgan saying so long from Baton Rouge. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.
You're watching the NCAA Gymnastics Championships on ESPN. Welcome to Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas for our live coverage of the 2021 NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships. The top 8 teams in the country are here competing in 2 separate semifinal sessions today to qualify for tomorrow's NCAA final. Later today, Oklahoma, LSU, Utah, and Alabama will compete at 6 p.m. Eastern. Coming up now, it's session 1 featuring Florida, Michigan, Cal, and Minnesota. Kathy Johnson-Clark and Bart Connor here. We are ready for an exciting day of gymnastics. Are you set?
I am set. My heart feels like a bouncing ball, but let's go.
We've waited 2 years for this moment, and it's all coming down to this spectacular weekend in Fort Worth, Texas. You're not going to want to miss this one, folks.
Like, look at that big piece of cookie dough right there. Like, it wouldn't be the same if it was just the little chunks.
Just waiting like this. I'm ready.